be educated, but I'm so frustrated. Hello to my loneliness. I guess that ignorance is bliss. Take me back to before.
Hello, and welcome back to the Clinically Average Podcast. I'm your host, Wolf, and as with me always is Rick. Hi, how you doing?
Hey, how you doing, honey?
Don't call me honey.
All right, sorry, I was just testing it
Not
out.
until you put a ring on it.
I was just testing it out, testing the waters.
Put a ring on it. Episode 9, The Pursuit of Happiness.
That it is.
But before we go ahead and tell them about the pursuit of happiness,
What are you gonna do?
we're going to plug, because statistics said we got to plug in the beginning, because that's when you guys hear it.
Because we all have ADHD and short-term memory.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So, for those who don't know, we write a blog that accompanies every podcast.
It's true.
And you can find that at clinicallyaveragepodcast.com. If you're listening to this on Spotify, then you already know that you typed in Clinically Average Podcast on Spotify and found it.
Follow and give us a star.
Oh, yeah. If you're watching this on YouTube, then you already know that you searched Clinically Average on YouTube.
And you should subscribe and like and do all that fun stuff.
If you're
comment and tell us how charming and maybe not fat we are.
Yeah, definitely not fat. I'm sure you guys are already following our Instagram page, and that's going to be at clinically_average_podcast, because you can't put spaces in Instagram names, because that's cool. And TikTok at clinically_average. And there's a Facebook page out there you can find.
There is a Facebook group.
I don't really know how to plug a Facebook page. Like,
Look us up on Facebook.
just put it into google.com. I mean,
That
that's
stuff
how-
should be self-explanatory. Just, like and
Yeah.
like and follow on whatever you're on.
Yeah, but whatever you're not listening on, you can go check it out,
Yeah.
find us. Follow the Instagram page. That kind of seems to be the central hub of content.
That's true. It's where it's
Con-
popping at the most.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. But that's like the central hub of content. Content like this is the pursuit of happiness.
Like the pursuit of happiness.
So what is the pursuit of happiness?
Kind of self-explanatory, isn't it?
Yeah, it was like the hit song off of Kid Cudi's debut album, 2009 Man on the Moon.
Which just reminds me of being way too inebriated in college.
Jesus. Those are the days.
Like dangerously inebriated.
Those are not the days.
Like, yeah, that's like the soundtrack to self-harm.
Soundtrack to My Life. Isn't that on that album?
No, isn't that album? That album's a classic.
It is. It's fucking banger. Man on the Moon.
Yeah. Yeah, the OG, Man on the Moon.
Yeah. Really channeled the Kanye energy there with the expressive and exploratory rap with the different weird beats and stuff.
Is this your American Psycho bit you're doing?
No, I could have. I would have needed way more information. I just wrote down like 3 bullet points to do a little bit on the Kid Cudi joke, but this is going terribly wrong.
Nah, man, don't be down on yourself.
Yeah, you're right. Fuck it.
Get some positive energy.
Woo.
That was a really,
What?
really weak there.
I'm a little sick, and I hope that they don't see how I'm fat and have a nose strip on because I can't breathe today. So I apologize if anyone gets a cough or a little sniffle in the audio.
You'll have that. It's mostly me. I'm in the sneezing zone.
Ooh, sneeze me up. So, The Pursuit of Happiness, not just a banger off a early Kid Cudi album.
No, it's actually a concept that we all kind of adhere to in the United States. It's literally in our Constitution.
Oh, wow. Yeah, wow. Oh, thank you, North American education, for letting me forget that. Gee whiz. Bill of Rights and stuff, huh?
So yeah, it's kind of like a concept that's kind of ingrained in our culture, like this. Like we're perpetually in the pursuit of happiness.
We
'Cause
have-
we have a right to it.
We have a God-given
We have
right.
a right to guns and the pursuit of happiness.
Like these guns.
All right.
But we have a God-given right to have a pursuit towards happiness, that this is the land of the free and that anything and everything is possible, and it's super cool and awesome, and red, white, and blue are the new primary colors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like we're the only ones that get to pursue happiness.
So,
But I think that's the irony of it is I think our country, I think people in our culture struggle the most with it, ironically.
oh, do tell.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what the whole point of this is. Like, the pursuit of happiness is, I think, causing people to inherently not be happy.
Because we're too focused on finding that happiness.
We're making it a thing. Like, we made a thing out of it.
We did a thing.
Like, we made it into a thing where I feel like it's up on a pedestal. Like, we've really kind of, I think I say we've equated the idea of happiness with perfection, and
Okay.
perfection is not actually obtainable. So therefore, this nebulous idea of reaching happiness, this point of like bliss and, no worries and pure joy, like we're going to just somehow reach that level.
Just by some like cosmic coincidence, or
I think it would come from a cosmic coincidence. That's more of what would make it happen. That the more we are pursuing it, we are actively engaged with obtaining happiness, the way you obtain currency, the way you obtain status.
Okay, because I mean, in our culture, I don't know if it's our culture specifically, like North American U.S. culture. It's the idea that you have the right to it, but you have to work for it. Like you have to chase it, run it down, jump on its back, put it in a chokehold, and strangle it to death, and then drag it home, like a wild animal.
But the part that's, I don't know if ironic is the word I'm looking for, but like, okay, so yeah, you've chased down, grappled with, broke its neck, and drug it back to your hut to, skin it, cook it, and feed the tribe.
Right.
The idea is then that now I'm happy. I did a thing.
I did the thing.
But because you have actually put that desire outcome of it, where it wasn't just I hunted down this goal, achieved it, and now, yay, I achieved my goal. It's the idea that we are constantly attributing the idea that once I do this thing, I'm going to be happy.
Yeah. Okay, so
So if you're just doing a thing just to do it, like right there, it's like we're using a deer analogy. Obviously, we're hunting deer.
Yeah.
So if you're, hunting as a means to an end, which is we need food, we need, you skin it for pelts, stuff like that. You need like all that. You're doing it for a purpose. Like it's a means to an end. You're hunting to do it.
Right.
But the end goal wasn't by then. Now we're living in a state of pure bliss. No, I just did the thing I'm supposed to do, and now I'm going to do the same thing probably in 2 days after we've run through this. But when the idea is like, okay, I'm going to do this thing I need to do, but also I'm going to achieve an emotional state that will be satisfying. Inherently, that makes that kind of not the case because you're putting too much weight on it.
Okay, so the idea is that, and I don't want to get it confused with, and I don't want to bash on setting goals. I think
It's nothing to do with setting. There's nothing wrong with setting goals.
But I mean, like the idea and kind of like the analogy that we use is, I want to achieve this thing. I set this goal, and then once I get it, everything will be happy, hunky dory.
So we're kind of jumping ahead, but it makes sense. We'll go with it.
Okay.
But so basically, what it is it's not the idea of setting a goal that's the problem. It's assigning expectations to the goal.
To the achievement of the goal.
So like that, there's expectations on it. So like if you're doing a goal because you feel compelled to, or it's a necessity, like you need to do this goal for like survival, those kind of things, like paying your bills, the things that are responsible.
Mm-hmm.
Those are goals you set daily that you just kind of have to get done. It doesn't necessarily change your emotional state like too drastically.
Okay.
But the idea is like if you're setting an expectation on it, where it's like it's like A plus B plus C equals happy. Once I achieve like these things, I'm going to feel something from it. So you're putting an expectation on it. You're getting your hopes up for something. And then if it doesn't, so like in the thing, so we'll combine two here. So the idea of what that is called the hedonic treadmill.
The hedonic treadmill.
Hedonic treadmill. I think
Hedonic
hedonism.
Hedonism.
I don't know if it's actually if that's like what that root word is from, but
Hedon. What's
hedon.
hedon?
Well, when they talk about hedonism, it's like kind of like just being a shithead, like loose women, sex, drugs, rock and roll.
Like our college days.
Yeah, we
our
were
Kid Cudi days.
being hedonists, listening to Man on the Moon.
Man on the moon. That's how the song goes.
You turned into like a butt rock version of it.
Write that down. Write that down for when we start a band.
Well, we have it perpetually here on recording. We know what it is.
It's recorded.
So let me get because I love definitions. I'm infatuated with definitions.
You don't love definitions.
Yeah, because they can't give me love back. The hedonic treadmill is defined as the idea that an individual's level of happiness after rising or falling in response to positive or negative life events ultimately tends to move back toward where it was prior to those experiences. So let's talk about it. So the idea is like your body is always going to reach a level of stability. No emotion is permanent. I think we talked about this in the love episode, where like Love is a feeling.
Feelings change.
Feelings change. Every feeling, no feeling lasts forever. Sadness, happiness, love, they all change throughout the day. You wake up feeling one way. By the end of the day, you feel completely different.
So we're thinking about, like, we have a baseline, and we have peaks and valleys. We have highs and lows as we go throughout our day, the week, month, year, whatever it might be. But we need to separate the idea that achieving this is going to inherently raise my baseline. So is that like
Your baseline isn't going to change, is the idea.
So is that the hedonic treadmill idea, is that if I achieve this goal, it will bring me happiness, and the happiness inherently is permanently raising my baseline.
Well, the hedonic treadmill is like poking a hole in that idea. It's saying that's not the case. It's also called hedonic adaptation. So like we adapt to our surroundings, to our environment naturally. Like, you know, we've over the years adapted like to cold weather, hot weather. We have adaptations for these kind of things.
Right.
This is an adaptation where like your mental baseline, it wants to stabilize. It wants stability. That's ultimately what you're looking for, is stability.
Yeah.
So even being happy is a form of destabilization.
Yeah, good destabilization.
Yes, like as sad as a bad level, but it's destabilizing.
But
Both are
But
destabilizing,
regardless, there's a standard deviation away from our
and you
baseline.
have to go back to homeostasis. It's always going to balance out. So it's like we attribute this idea. I think we've falsely attributed the idea that happiness means perfection, that you just stay in this perpetual state.
So I get happy and stay happy.
Yes. So that's an idea of setting expectations. So then if you do something, you set a goal and you achieve a goal, good. That's nothing inherently wrong with that. We are naturally goal-setting creatures, and we want to go achieve our goals. That's fine. But when people like get like soul-crushing, like, you know, like depression and these things, it's because they have this like void they're trying to fill. And the idea is like, once I achieve this thing, all these bad thoughts will go away, and it'll all be replaced with good stuff. But then once like you like achieve this cool thing, I got my new car, you know, I bought a house, you know, I met my dream girl, we got married, and it's like, oh, everything's so cool. And then like a month later, probably not even, if we're being realistic, this shit doesn't take long to come back down to normal.
Yeah.
We get cool things like 2 days later, it's like that high is already worn off, if even that long. It's like you make your Facebook post about it, get all your likes, and then like 2 days later, it's like, oh, okay, it's just a normal day again.
Back to the...
But if you're like regulated, you kind of know, oh, okay, that's just kind of cool. I'm going to share that. That's cool.
Yeah.
But if someone's like putting all their fucking like life value on this, like I've been building up for years, this is going to be the answer. I got my college degree. I got this thing. This is going to fix everything. And then 2 days later, life as normal returns. It's like debilitating because they've set, because then it's like a crashing effect. So you go from like you're at baseline, you go up here, you got the thing you want. But instead of just kind of like slowly coming back down to baseline, you like plummet down into depression.
Pass.
Yeah, you go back down past the baseline.
Why am I not happy now? This was supposed to make me happy.
Because then you're like, why didn't I stay like that? Why didn't that stay? It's like chasing the dragon, like the heroin analogy.
Okay. Well,
Then you're always chasing this dragon.
Okay, I have a real world analogy. Let's break it down with these concepts. We are about early December as of recording this. My birthday is the end of February, so we're almost accurately 2.5 months away from that. I have a goal, a fitness goal set. I want to bench press 3 plates by my 33rd birthday, or on my 33rd birthday. That'll be my present to me, is bench pressing 3 plates. Now, I don't have an expectation on it that once I do that a supermodel is going to pop out of the bathroom at the gym and come over and blow me while I'm still laying on the bench.
Right.
I know this isn't going to happen.
Yeah.
But it's going to make me feel real good. And I'm going to ride that high for a little bit, and it's a goal that I want to achieve. I've done it once before, back when at the peak of my lifting, like in high school football, but it's something I want to get back to. It's a goal. It's a benchmark. It's something that I want to achieve. But at the same time, I don't have any expectations on it, like, this is it. This is peak male physical performance. I don't need to go into the gym anymore. I'm done.
Yeah.
Hand my
Your
over and leave the
testosterone
gym.
is always going to stay at that level, and you're always going to be that pumped up.
Right. I understand that's not the case, but it's still a goal that I want to
I mean,
achieve.
you get that every day. If you want to, I try to stay away from gym analogies too much, but like right there, you go get your pump on.
Yeah.
That feeling lasts a half hour, maybe an hour.
Yeah.
And you're back to feeling like a tiny little dude again.
Oh, the body dysmorphia sets in.
But that's not even like a body dysmorphia. I think most people who lift, like you have like it's like the, coffee gives you you feel like you could write a book for 30 minutes and then you're just like back to feeling normal.
Yeah.
Like the pump lasts 30 minutes after you just put in an hour of work at the gym and you look awesome. Like, oh yeah, I look great. I'm all pumped up and veiny and stuff. Then half hour, an hour later, you look like a normal dude again.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think this is just that. But if you know that, you're fine. But if you're setting the expectations on that, I'm going to stay looking like that.
Yeah.
And that's going to make me, because that's like you're going to your shallow reasons of why you're even doing the thing. So yeah, like setting goals is fine. Like I want to bench 300 by the time I'm 33. And, that's nothing wrong with that. But like you said, if you set the expectation, like then I'll be happy. Then everything's going to be great after that. Sunshine and rainbows.
I mean, it is. Once you bench 3 plates, everything is sunshine and
Then
rainbows.
you literally own the gym. You own whatever business you work for because you bench the most.
If you bench the most where you work, you legally own the company.
Yeah, they can't say anything else to you. What are they going to do?
I'm getting promoted here.
Right.
Promote myself.
Even when there's no promotion to go, someone's got to do something about this.
Someone has to acknowledge my greatness.
Right.
It's not just going to be.
But right there, you're touching on something there where like, and I think we've hit this a bunch of times where it's like, no, if you're setting a goal for something you want, then okay, you're acknowledging your greatness. If you want to use greatness, but whatever you achieved, you're acknowledging it. It's making you happy. This is fine. This is all good. This is healthy. It's like whenever you're having almost what you're having, like delusions of grandeur, kind of, where it's like, I'm going to do this and just everyone's going to love me. Everyone's going to respect me. I'm just always going to feel so good about myself. It's like, no, you'll realistically enjoy the achievement for a couple days. You can reflect on it in the future, but for the most part, no, it's going to be ephemeral. It's going to pass off, and you're going to be on to the next thing, which is fine.
Yeah.
We all do this. We set a goal. Hopefully, you finish your goal, and then you're naturally going to gravitate towards doing something else. It's like, what are you trying to get out of the goal, though? Is where I think people get caught up on, because it's like this, like, I'm going to just reach this state of like I'm always feeling good.
I think it'll be a confidence boost.
It's well, I think you use a good point where you're gonna ride this high for a bit.
Yeah.
And I think that's like what you do is like you ride the high off it, but what you hopefully do is like you chain that into other aspects of your life. Like I think right there, like if you have a goal, it's like a fitness goal, and you do get to it. It's like, okay, that's not the end all be all of who you are as a person, but I think it helps you learn. Like you gain confidence. You gain, oh, I can set a goal and finish it.
I think what it's going to be for me, and what I'm trying to ingrain into my subconscious.
This mic is driving me absolutely insane.
I know. What I'm trying to get out of it, and what I'm trying to use it to ingrain into my subconscious is like not chasing that high on the pursuit of happiness. I know this isn't going to make everything sunshine, rainbows, jelly beans, and supermodels, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to be
Jelly beans, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Want to throw in there?
You love jelly beans? I love jelly
I
beans.
mean, I like them. It's fine.
Whatever.
I'm not a big candy guy.
Fucking jelly beans.
Fucking jelly beans.
Tropic Thunder quote reference. But I know everything's not going to be super great and awesome once I bench 3 plates. But what it will do is reaffirm what I'm doing now, because I'm not chasing happiness. I'm loving the process. And I know once if I attain this goal, it's kind of going to be like a reassurance on trusting that process, right? So it's like, okay, look, you just benched 350. You just put the 3 plates up. And everything you've done the last couple months, the work, the effort, the diet, the determination, these things led up to this goal. The process works. Stick to the process or readjust for different goals, but learn to love the process, learn to trust the process.
It's like the irony of the pursuit of happiness is you find the happiness in the pursuit.
There was a thing from Ego's the Enemy, Ryan Holiday. Look it up, good book. But it's like the Tom Brady's, the Kobe's. They win the championship. They're the world champions. That's not it. They're the next day, they're working towards the next one. They're addicted and they love the process.
There's a quote to it's like associated with Kobe. I don't know if he said it, but it always like he didn't like they'd win a championship and the next day he's already in there at 4 a.m. practicing. Yeah, this is not like be like a like some David Goggins shit, but it's just like he actually actively enjoyed just the act of practicing and playing basketball. Yeah, the winning was like a product of that, but why that was so. He was happy just to practice and get to do it. And then the winning was an after effect of just his love for it and the happiness he had from doing it.
Yeah.
So it's like but it wasn't like he was soul crushed from not winning. The winning was like, he's competitive, obviously, but like he just was happy.
It's kind of like that benchmark. It's like, okay, we didn't win the world championships.
It just reaffirms that what I'm doing, my enjoyment of this process, is what's creating that.
We're on the right path, but I need to do it harder. And so readjust my game plan and get back to it. And then it's like, well, you practice all off season and go through the season, and then you do win the world championships, and it's like, okay, that process worked, so let's get right back to it.
Yeah.
It's just, to me, it kind of feels like it's like that benchmark. It's that reaffirm, okay, I'm doing what I'm doing. Is it working? Is it not working?
Yeah.
Adjust and continue forward.
It goes back to like the pursuit thing where it's like, what are you doing the thing for? So that's like, I think we talked about this before in previous episodes. Like, if you're just focused on the goal, like you'll do things like to like get status, like power, fame, money, and you'll do things you don't actually want to do to get it. Like, well, it's no surprise that you're not going to be happy when you get it because you're not doing it for you. You're doing it to achieve something that will then make others respect you, or make others value you, or make others think of you in a certain way you want to be thought of.
You're doing it for the shallow reasons.
You're doing it for other people. You're not doing it for you. So therefore, the thing you're doing, the active thing, like the pursuit part, you aren't actually enjoying. So you're just thinking about the end because, if I just grind through this and do all this shit I don't want to do, I'll get to this promised land where everything will be amazing. But then even if you do that, you grind through all the stuff you don't want to do, work this job you hate, or do this thing to impress these people, and then you get there and then you don't like it. It's like, well, yeah, because
is it that much more soul crushing?
I think so, because it's like you put all this expectation on it. Like I am doing this with the intent of getting tangible rewards for this. They're like not just like things that are good for me. It's just like I'm going to be showered with praise. I'm going to have all this achievement. I'm going to ride that high forever. And it's like, well, no. Once again, you're probably going to ride a high for a couple days. Then you're back in the reality of, I achieved this thing that I didn't enjoy achieving it. I didn't like the process. And B, it's not giving me the sustained happiness I thought it would. So like, it's like two strikes there. Okay. I pursued a thing I didn't actually want to pursue for me, and I didn't enjoy the process. So it's two things you didn't enjoy.
So is that kind of segue into the expectation, the curse of expectation?
Yeah.
It's like understanding when you're putting all your eggs in that one basket of achieving that one goal.
And then it's going to fix all your problems.
Yeah, which is just not the case. But when you learn to enjoy the process, enjoy the pursuit, your happiness should come from the pursuit. Will you find some Epictetus quotes?
Yeah, I'm trying to find here. I was hoping you were going to keep talking.
I can keep talking. What did I have on the curse of expectations? I wrote down the Matthew McConaughey line from Green Lights. A denied expectation hurts more than a denied hope. While a fulfilled hope makes us happier than a fulfilled expectation, hope's got a higher return on happiness and less debit on denial. Matthew McConaughey, Green Lights. So what's that feel like? A denied expectation.
Well, you just say, yeah, having hope is one thing. Like you hope to be able to bench 300 pounds by February.
Right.
If you don't, you're not going to be like, you didn't achieve the goal you wanted.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world, and then it's just going to be, okay, look at the process.
But if you put a huge expectation on it, like it's going to hurt that much more when you don't achieve it.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm trying to.
And he's even saying a fulfilled hope actually makes you happier than a fulfilled expectation anyways.
So if I hope I'm able to achieve this.
Then you do it. Like it's going to be less terrible if you don't do it. But the reward, if you do it, it's going to be even that much better because you're actually realistically keeping your expectations in check.
Okay.
So yeah, I think this goes on to the next thing that I think is what keeps people from being happy. I mean, I think stuck in these expectation loops
Okay.
so I use the next thing is about the idea of detachment. And that's one of the big things like the Stoics preach, and that's a lot of what McConaughey talks about in his book is his ability to detach from things. And I think when you hear that term, I think people usually associate that with a negative term. Like, I'm detaching myself. I'm detached from this. It makes it seem like you're not involved, like you're aloof, you're not invested, I think would be the word.
I think I have like two ways that I process the word detachment. One is that kind of negative thing, like, oh, this is bad for me. I'm going to detach from it. I'm washing my hands of the situation.
Well,
stepping away.
that's the positive way of looking at it.
Oh.
I think a lot of people use the word detached, like in he's emotionally detached. It's like, oh, like he's detached from his
Okay.
job. Like he's just kind of checked out while he's at work.
Because the other way I look at detachment is like, it's just kind of always that like assessment portal. It's just like, okay, stop, step back, evaluate the situation, and come up with a game plan.
Which
and attack.
is basically what I'm talking about doing
Okay.
in this part. It was like, but I think a lot of times people like because I try to do things the same way, but I think people get confused with dissociation. So like if I'm in a stressful situation, I will just check out.
Yeah.
Like not literally, but like if like I'm working with somebody I don't like, or I'm like dealing with someone I really didn't like. A lot of times I was like, I'm just gonna just check out, and do my job, get it over with.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get out of here, go on to things I actually care about.
Yeah. There's
Like I use the example here. I'm like, detachment is an idea of where you can get through a work shift without punching your douchebag coworker in the mouth and catching an assault charge. But I know so many people who get caught up like in workplace drama because they can't just let a shithead's dirty comment slide.
I've seen that.
Like, and then it's like
I've seen
workplace
that
drama, and
almost
we're all
everywhere.
gossiping and doing something. And like, I can't. I so don't get caught up in that shit because it's just like I don't care.
Yeah.
If I go into a workplace and people are like, "Oh, did you hear what so and so did?" I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah. No, whatever.
I don't give a shit. I'm going after work to go to the gym and then go hang out with my kids. I could give two shits what you guys are gossiping about.
Yeah.
But then people are like, oh, he doesn't care. I'm like, no. Why would I care? Why do you care so much?
Why are you?
Why are you
putting-
so emotionally invested in like being shitty with your coworkers and like competing with each other and like talking behind each other's backs and doing all these things? Because you have expectations that by doing this, you will get something out of it.
What do you get out of it?
If I get my coworker in trouble, I get brownie points with the boss. If I do this, I get more tips. If I do this and I get a job, I get a better position. A lot of that is like I have expectations of getting something, so I'm going to try and really get invested in the whole like corporate ladder, climbing up here, doing all these things, the rat race type of stuff.
Can you? We're on a tangent here, but can you associate that with, like, it's a fucking third of people's lives? You spend 8 hours a day at work, 40 hours a week.
Well, yeah, I think a lot of people get caught up in that.
Yeah, it's
But
just-
like I think
It's a quarter of your week. Yeah. 160.
how many people do you think that are getting actual happiness from that? Do you think that makes their life better?
Oh no.
So that's the point I'm making. Is like I get it. Yeah, it's a big point. So like, why would you actively make it more stressful, make it more of a pain in the ass, and more stressful for the people you work with, who are all just trying to get through this quarter of their life to make their
Yeah.
money to go do things they actually want to do? So like for me, I've been called cold and like dissociated when I worked before because I don't really engage with people most of the
Yeah.
time. I kind of just go do my job, and I leave because.
punch in, disassociate, punch out.
And I said I don't even
go
call it
enjoy life.
dissociating. Usually, unless I'm like in a bad mental state, then yes, it's dissociating. I
Yeah.
dissociate. But like a lot of times, it's a choice. And I use that distinction where I think detachment is a choice, dissociating is a trauma response.
Okay, because detachment is not dissociation.
If I'm walking into the
Not
business,
equal.
my job with the intention that I'm going to put my headphones in, I'm going to listen to a podcast for 8 hours, then I'm going to go home.
Yeah.
That's a choice. If I'm coming in there, I'm just kind of zoning out, staring at the wall, and not getting my job done, that's dissociating.
Okay, so there is a distinct difference,
Mm-hmm.
and these things should not be used interchangeably.
I don't think they should be used because I think detachment is a tool you can use to get through. Like I said, it's a. Let me run through here. So yeah, I look at dissociation as a form of avoidance or escape, whereas detachment is a form of self-preservation in the midst of adversity or chaos. Dissociation is an involuntary trauma response, whereas attachment can be intentional and used as a tool to persevere. Dissociation is unproductive. You lose yourself in your phone, video games, gossip, or other vices to distract yourself from reality in order to not feel negative emotions. Detachment is a mental tool to protect yourself from negative emotions in order to be productive despite being enveloped in negative circumstances.
So it's okay to be detached.
I would argue it's healthy to be detached.
Okay.
If you are in a toxic situation, or if you're in an unhealthy situation, or in a place that's bringing you a lot of stress, yes, you should detach. Don't dissociate, because then you're not helping yourself. You're just kind of losing yourself in the chaos.
Stepping into a state of like limbo.
Yeah, you're just
in the
checked.
chaos.
That is like checked out.
Okay.
Detachment's not checking out. It's like I'm checking out of this stuff, but with intentionality. I'm still going to do what I need to do. I'm going to get my shit done, but I'm going to make this as productive as possible for me to get out.
Okay. I'm thinking. I got my good big brain thinking. Because it's just like people do use those things interchangeably. And I think like modern culture, modern society has put like weight on detach and dissociate and just like, oh, they're out of it. They're gone. They're mentally checked out. They don't want to do this.
I think a lot of people could do with doing that, because like being around like work drama and places where people are just like I guess I can go on here. So like detachment allows you to take power away from would-be abusers, negative life events, or even allow you to get through a work shift without your dickhead coworker, without punching your dickhead coworker to catch an assault charge. Detachment is the act of being the bigger man or woman. We've heard our entire lives. Someone's talking shit, just be the bigger person.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're going through some shit they aren't dealing with well, and they aren't detaching from. They are very attached to this problem, and they are taking it out on everybody.
Just like dealing with a toddler, just like, okay, buddy, calm down.
Yes, like that kind of thing. Not allowing yourself to be dragged down to your baser level, rising above and completing the task that needs to be doing. That's how you use detachment. You aren't disassociating from painful emotions. You are rearranging your emotional priorities and the effects they have on you in the exact present moment.
Okay.
So it's like, yeah, you could be going through some shit, but it's like, hey, so like if I'm like stressed out, I've had like a rough week and go through some drama in my life, and I have to go to, you still got to go to work.
Yeah.
So if I go, it's like dissociating would be like, I'm shut down. I might even call off. I might not even go to work. When you're dissociating, you're just kind of like, I'm just going on the couch. I can't get off the couch. I'm just out of it.
Not great.
But detach, like, okay, I'm going to go in, but I'm head down, just getting my shift through, because I don't want to take this out on somebody else. I don't want to bring my shit to work. I'm just going to put my head down and do my thing.
It's a responsible response.
It's like, if anybody's going to, I might be not in the best mental state, so I'm protecting myself and the people around me by kind of just like, I'm just going to just come get through this one. I don't need to be wearing my heart on my sleeve right now.
Just do my thing. Just go in, handle your shit, and get out.
So here's a good Epictetus quote on it, which is a Stoic philosopher. Do some backstory. He was a slave in the Roman Empire, who then became a philosopher, who became one of the emperor's favorites. He went and listened to him preaching, philosophizing outside of the.
Which emperor?
I don't remember which one. It wasn't Marcus Aurelius. It was the Hadrian. I think that's his dad. Was the one who had them, but yeah, he was that was his favorite philosopher. He was just a slave, and he turned into a philosopher, and he'd just be out in the streets, and kings, and everyone would go see him because they loved his message. Huh. But they said his one quote: "How much better are the lives of those that try to rise above than those who whine and sink to the levels of their basic instincts." He goes on to say, "It's not things that upset us; it's our judgment of the things. It's not enough to be harmed. You have to believe that you are being harmed. Your mind is complicit in the provocation." Which is, he's saying you need to detach from it, because he was talking about how when he was in, slavery, he wasn't dissociating. You can't dissociate. You're a slave. You still have to do the things. You're being whipped and prodded to do these things. You have to do them or you get killed. It's like the only way you protect yourself is detachment, emotionally detaching yourself from the situation. You're because what's the other alternative? It's death.
Yeah.
So you have to detach yourself emotionally to persevere. It's a persist, then resist. Or resist, then persist, is the idea.
Then persist. So it's just that's such an extreme scenario to figure out that philosophy, right?
And that's how you figure out. You figure out philosophy, I think, in extreme scenarios. Because if you're in a very happy, cushy situation, it's really, why would you be digging into philosophy? If things are going well for you, what would make? We talk about Alive and Dead time. We started this podcast series off with that.
Yeah.
And we were just talking before we came in here. I think alive time, like the time whenever you've like hit rock bottom, that's when you learn the most.
Yeah.
Because you're actively trying to learn lessons. That's when you get into philosophy or get into like these like different like teachings and like big ideas. Because when things are going well, things are going well. Why the hell would I be digging into ancient philosophy?
Yeah. Why do I need to figure these things out when everything's just cool?
You're not really having any problems. So why are you looking for solutions?
Complacency sucks.
The other quote that goes along with that is from McConaughey. He like uses it a bunch in his book. He says it's kind of like his tagline is "Get relative with the inevitable,"
I like that.
which is essentially just like, hey, shit's gonna happen. You cannot stop shit from happening. People betray you. You lose your job. You get sick. You get injured. Things you can't spend your whole life having contingency plans preparing you for these like possible terrible outcomes. Because then you just live in a state of anxiety. You're worried about the future. Mm-hmm. So no, each time you expect something bad is going to eventually happen. That's not like morbid. It's just reality.
Yeah.
Like something bad, unfortunate, will happen. The idea is with each passing thing, you just get more resilient. You understand. You are able to emotionally detach because like, oh, well, yeah, something's going to happen. It doesn't stay like this forever.
Yeah. Okay, so that is like that idea of just like stop, step back, analyze the situation. That's just like I keep going back to that because that was always a part of my trainings and everything. But it really is just like chaos, evil. Something has happened. There's this disruption. There's this evilness. There's this thing we got to get away from.
Yeah.
We don't run from it. We don't ignore it and go on somewhere else. We just pause, fucking take a time out, analyze the situation, and persist forward.
Yeah. So what he says with that, I think people need to take that into account. I remember a discussion I had with someone close to me at one point. They were very confrontational. Like, and they're one of those people who always said, I don't like drama.
Yeah.
If you have to disclaim that I don't like drama, I'm not a drama starter. I don't like gossip. I don't like drama. Chances are they like it more than anybody.
It's like the same person who's like, I'm not a racist, but,
Yeah.
and then continue to say
If
something
you have
real
to do that
racist.
is very suspicious.
I don't like drama, but.
But they always tried to drag me into getting into like fights with people. They
Yeah.
always use the argument that you need to be more confrontational. You need to stand up for yourself. I'm like, all right, there's a distinction between standing up for yourself, and like confrontation. Like, there's this idea of like, it's like a strong thing to do. I said, no, I think if you're actively, constantly seeking out confrontation and you just won't let any disrespect stand,
That's a bad quality.
that's weak, actually.
Yeah.
Like, it is be the bigger person. If someone tells me something that doesn't align with my view of myself, they're being disrespectful,
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care. If someone insults me, I usually consider the source is usually what plays in the back of my head. Like if someone I don't respect says something disrespectful towards me, that doesn't move my meter. What actually makes me happier usually.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh wow, I'm in their head rent free. I didn't even do anything. I'm just existing, and they are put off by me.
They're having a whole day.
They are not detached. I am super detached. I'm fine. I'm up in the clouds. My head's up here thinking about video games or something I'm going to do later.
But
It's
they're
not
really-
bothering me, and they're just like having a crisis that I just
I'm
exist.
in their head.
And it's like, but that's why I would tell this person, like, if you're letting them win by being so confrontational, they're getting something out of this.
Yeah, they want. They're looking for the pushback. They're looking for the.
I'm not being weak because I'm not going to go get into a shit throwing contest with people I don't think I need to be in a shit throwing contest with.
No.
I'm being up here. They're down here rolling around in the shit. They can stay down in the shit for all I care. It's not going to do me any good. It's not going to change their mind. I'm just going to get angry,
Yeah.
make myself a less version of myself.
It's just like.
You're degrading yourself.
It's an active and physical way of trolling. It's just they're here. They want a reaction out of you.
Yeah. And it's that you can't detach. And that's one of these great quotes here. That's one of my favorite like Epictetus quotes where he talks about, because I lived through this. I saw what this does to someone when you're not adhering to this Epictetus quote. So he says, it is essential that we don't respond to provocation. Approach situations with endurance and equanimity. So he goes on to explain that. So he believed that there were two things that hindered our freedom, which is what he thinks leads to actual happiness, the freedom of choice.
Okay.
But he says, these are the two things that hinder your overall happiness. The two terms are endurance and lack of restraint. If you can't endure wrongs that you should be able to, or restrain yourself from actions that you should, you'll forever be at the mercy of outside forces and never be able to accept life on life's terms. He said that freedom is the product of being able to resist and then choose to persist.
Okay.
So I like that term there where he uses endurance. You can't endure wrongs that you should be able to.
You can't endure wrongs that you should be able to.
So like there's an example. Some shithead I don't like or barely even know says something mean about me. And then I go over exaggerate, get into a big shouting match, maybe get into a fist fight, maybe have something stupid happen, or I say something that's really embarrassing, and then like people lose respect for me. I lose respect for myself, more importantly.
Yeah.
That all could have been avoided if I just ignored this angry person.
Yeah.
I didn't go to their provocation. No one's entitled to your reaction. No answer is an answer.
Okay. Yeah.
Like this idea that someone's like calling you out, that it's like you're honor bound to like defend yourself. No, you're not.
This isn't the OK Corral.
We're not going to have a duel
Wild West.
afterwards.
Yeah.
If someone says something mean about me on Facebook, they can just keep talking to themselves in the comment section.
Okay.
I'm not going to get upset about it. Because especially when you're not doing anything intended to get that reaction. So if you are honestly just like going about your business and if you like accidentally insult someone or you offend someone, sure, make amends, do something for it. But if someone's trying to provoke you, the idea of provoke is someone is like antagonizing you. Like a bully in school is just bullying one of the nerdy, geeky kids. 9 times out of 10, if the kid just doesn't give that kid a reaction, the bully a reaction, stops.
Yeah, they want the reaction. They want the feedback from it.
Yeah.
I think that's correct. And I understand what you're saying. I'm not playing devil's advocate, but I'm just examining the situation. That level of cool, calm, collectness certainly takes a level of security, takes a level of confidence.
Level of somewhat kind of happiness and fulfillment in your life.
Yeah. Because, like, I'm not too... Yeah, if someone's there just like, oh, I bet I could beat your ass or blah, 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 just shithead at the bar. It's like, okay, I'm confident in myself. I know who I am. I know what I'm about. I know what I can do. I know what I'm capable of. And I'm not concerned with proving that to anybody else.
Yeah, that's a situation where that's funny until they try and actually attack you, which then it's self-defense and whatever. But like, no, some drunk dude at a bar calling me, a slur for gay people isn't gonna make me catch an assault charge, get kicked out of my favorite bar. No, I'm fine. I'm gonna go home and go see my kids the next day, and I'm not too worried about that.
It's like, wow, buddy, well, what a well thought out,
but that's showing someone
intelligent retort.
This is a lack of happiness in someone's life or fulfillment. That is like basically what it's saying here is like your lack of happiness comes from your lack of freedom.
Okay.
Your lack of freedom comes from you not being able to make choices. You feel like you don't have actual freedom. Freedom is just choice.
Freedom is having the option of choice.
And the ultimate level of freedom is literally choosing how you react to the world. And he uses like the term where he's a slave. They have a term for this called the Stockdale paradox.
The Stockdale paradox.
He was like a high up military during Vietnam.
Okay.
And they named it because he got captured by the Vietnam or the Vietnamese, and he went in there and went to like a slave camp. They turned this point where he basically when he went in, he was jumping off the airplane. He pretty much assumed he's going to get captured. They were kind of going in to rescue people who'd already been captured.
Yeah.
And what he has this like quote where he's like, "I'm going from like reality, and I'm going into war. I'm shifting realities. Like, I'm going." He has it was like a stoic term he used. I forget what it was, but basically he just pretty much told himself he's going in. My regular life is done.
Yeah.
I'm in survival mode. It's like, so I'm like, he like pretty much made himself like forget anything he's like tied to emotionally. Cause like this could go on for years. This could go on for whatever. He's pretty much like mentally detached from reality. Like, hey, I'm going in, chances are I'm going to get captured. I'm going to be in a prison camp for maybe years.
Yeah.
But he's like, before he even did it, like so they have this idea of the Stockdale paradox where like you go in, it's like going into a situation understanding that I don't really have any control over this other than my emotions. I choose how to react to this. I already know it's a shitty situation.
Oh, I know. They briefed on it in Ego's the Enemy, didn't they?
Yeah, it was in
Yeah.
one of it's a couple books I've seen on that. They talk about the Stockdale paradox.
But it's just like that idea of just, okay, this is, you're literally shifting realities. I mean, that, again, an extreme situation, forcing you to do so. How do you adapt that to your everyday life?
So like right here, he has a quote that says,
Okay.
the chief task in your daily life is to identify and separate matters so that I can clearly say to myself which are externals not under my control and which have to do with decisions I actually control. And so much of I think of expectations, or we can't control the expectations, or we can't control the results. We put expectations on things we can't actually control.
We have control over our expectations.
What we do, but we're putting we have control over expectations, so we should have the choice to have reasonable expectations. But we are putting expectations on things we don't really have control of. So like right there, you have control of certain things, but like you can't control the outcome.
Right.
A lot of things could happen between now and February.
Yeah.
Like you might get sick. You might have something come out and it detracts you from getting there. But if you don't manage your expectations, like that's on you because you have a choice in that.
Yeah. So,
So like right there, that would be like an example of like a Stockdale paradox kind of thing there. Your goal was to achieve a thing by February, but then like a chain of really bad things happened to you between now and
it
then.
just completely blows that goal.
You could get depressed, dissociate, and just have a fucking meltdown and go off the rails.
Yeah.
You know, or you could emotionally attach and realize, hey, it's kind of like, hey, shit happens. It's not the end of the world. We'll bounce back from this. We'll figure out a way.
Well, that just seems like that just seems like a core component of when people get upset with timeline goals, which is why we don't set timelines.
That you're not. That's like
It's
the
like, oh, by this time next year,
you are setting yourself up
I
for
am
failure.
going to have a down payment on a house set up. I'm going to push through. I'm going to have a house. Everything's going to be cool. I'm going to be a homeowner. And then one thing leads to another. You get fired from your job, or my car blows up. That's I got to go get a new car. Or
There's so many things that can happen
$1,000.
in a 12-month time span that you can't account for, that you have zero control over.
Yeah.
I would say 95% of your life you do not actually have control over.
That's a big chunk.
I don't think I'm exaggerating.
You don't think?
Like, how many things do you do? Like, you don't have control over. Like, the reason the most dangerous thing you do every day is you drive your car to work.
Yeah.
Like, and I drive 5 minutes to work. The chances of me dying, all day. That's like the most dangerous thing I do. So like I can have, because in that example for me driving there, I have no control over the other cars. I have no control over wildlife running into my car. I have no control over something falls out of the goddamn sky. I don't have control of a tree falling down on me.
You know, control over
There's
the
like
weather.
30,000 things that could kill me on the way to work every day, and I don't have control over. But like, you know, you just don't think about it.
Yeah.
Because why would you? You can't control it.
RKO out of nowhere.
Yeah. Randy Orton can get me. I don't know. But it's like this is an example that there's so many things like that you do not control. But if you start thinking you can control them, that causes so many fucking problems.
Anxiety.
It's
being
anxiety,
a big one.
the biggest one, yeah.
Because like
Because you're trying to prepare for future events that you can't stop, and even preparing for good future events still causes anxiety.
Because I can't have a contingency plan every day.
All day, every
To
day, for
defend
every
an
possible
RKO.
thing.
Yeah.
You either start looking at the dude with the red strings all strung out.
Oh, the
Dude from Always
Always
Sunny.
Sunny?
Yeah.
Yeah. who's
Charlie Day. The Charlie Day like red string theory meme.
Felipe Pepe Sylvia. Who's Pepe Sylvia? Yeah.
Yeah, that meme. You'd be looking like that every day.
I don't want to live life like that.
No, that's because you're not gonna. Because like, if you live your life like that, and let's say that your crazy string theory works and you achieved some goals, you're gonna be right back to that.
Yeah.
It just never stops. It's this loop of like, the image you're gonna see for this podcast is literally there's like a light out in the distance and a guy walking towards it. The thing about that is that it's always moving. That light, you might never get to it.
It's just like the goalpost is always moving.
Yes, the goalpost. Because even if you do get to that, it just shoots back to the horizon, and you're going for another one.
So like through a combination of our expectations, our hopes, dreams, and all these things, or we're continuously kicking the goalpost or pushing our own goalpost away from us.
I guess I could really. I think the best way to like, talk about this is the Mark Manson quote he has on it, where he compares it to a carrot on a stick.
Okay.
So, in his book, Everything is Fucked, which is awesome. Go read that.
The blue one?
Yeah, the blue one.
Well, I need to read
The blue Mark Manson book.
There's an orange one and a blue one.
So he says, the pursuit of happiness is not only self-defeating, but also impossible. It's a carrot on a stick. The more you move forward, the more it moves forward. When you make the carrot the end goal, you ultimately turn yourself into the means to get there. By pursuing happiness, you paradoxically make it unattainable. It's a toxic value that has long defined our culture. It's misleading. Living well does not mean avoiding suffering. It means suffering for the right reasons, because if we're forced to suffer simply for existing, we might as well learn to suffer well.
It's a Buddhist thing.
Yeah.
That's a big element of like some Buddhist philosophy, is that life is suffering. There will always be suffering. So how do we suffer well, and how do we...
Which is why I think it's a particular thing in our culture we suffer from. Because I think a lot of the Eastern cultures and stuff they're not all Buddhist, obviously, but it just seems like when you split the planet in half, like our side is more of a, we have this idea.
Western culture sucks.
And Eastern has more of a, like Buddhist ideologies where it's like, they are more in line with the pursuit, not the end goal.
It seems...
We are more like goal oriented at the end.
It seems way more realist.
Well, yeah, I think when you're younger, you look at this stuff, it's like very like spiritual woo kind of stuff. Like, oh, that stuff just sounds really like hippie.
Yeah.
But I think if you get to a certain point when you're older, it's like, no, I think they're actually the more mature ones, and we look like, well, if you look at any like stuff from like outside like news sources from like other countries, they all look at us like we're like snotty teenagers. Like they just don't get it. They'll figure it out someday. Like they live life at a slower pace, and we've always like kind of make fun of them.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, you make fun of the French or whatever. Like, they're just sitting around working 4 days a week. I'm gonna go do all this. Like, but they all seem so much happier.
Way happier.
But why do we not look at that? We're just like we hear all these stats, all these numbers of like all these other countries that are way happier, and they rank happier, less depression, less suicide, all these things, and they have a different philosophy on life, different cultures.
Yeah.
But we like kind of like make fun of them. Like, yeah, they're a joke. Whatever. I'm gonna keep grinding. I'm gonna keep doing what we're doing. It seems to be working. But then all the numbers seem to show otherwise. But then we still kind of make fun of like the Buddhist people, like the monk kind of like, oh yeah, whatever. That's spiritual nonsense.
Well, I think we put a stigma on
That's
it.
some hippie stuff.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, whatever they're smoking, man. I got to get back to my 9 to 5 because I need a Ferrari.
Yeah, and you're probably not gonna get that Ferrari. And then when you do get the Ferrari, and the irony is it doesn't make you any happier than that guy living in a hut overseas.
Because what was
I'm not expounding the idea of like, let's all go off the grid and live in the woods. I'm not quite that spiritually detached.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, man. Yeah, maybe see me in 10 years.
the commune?
But
I mean,
like, it is the idea, like, I'm just kind of questioning it. Like, we like build our culture around this, but I don't see too many people who I think, oh, that person's really fulfilled. They seem genuinely happy.
It's like it's a capitalistic chase. It's consumerism. It's commercialism. It's get this, make you happy. Mm-hmm. You get a hit of dopamine, then it's okay. Well, now what? And then, get a nicer car, you'll be happy. Okay, well, that worked for a little bit. Get a bigger house. Oh, okay, yeah, that was cool. No, I'm back in it. Get a better job.
Get a better thing you can post on social media. We've talked about this ad nauseum, like this mimetic desire thing.
Get a hotter wife.
Somebody posted a thing earlier I thought was actually really great, kind of leading into this. It said, lately I've noticed everybody looks okay until you eventually have a deep conversation with them. Most people try and avoid have deep conversations, but then when you do get them, and then you'll realize this is a sad generation of people struggling to survive through posting smiling faces and pretty pictures. And it's like, that's kind of sad and dismal, but I don't disagree with that.
No, not at all.
Because 9 times out of 10, when I do get someone alone, have a deep conversation with them, it gets pretty dismal pretty freaking quick.
Yeah.
Like when someone's just being, like most people I know are just cut the shit of their daily facade and kind of get real. I feel like you're just like, oh man, this person's struggling and they are not happy in most aspects of their life. But then what happens the next day? You have that deep conversation with somebody and the next day they're right back at it. And I wouldn't call that detachment.
But what other choice do they have? I mean, there's certain things you have to.
I mean, that's such
there is suffering. There's always suffering.
That would be on that person. Like you can't make that judgment call because it could be one thing, it could be 30 different things going on in their life they're not happy with.
Yeah.
And that's kind of on each individual person to kind of figure that out. Like we kind of talked about last night. Like we're 32, and I feel like I'm still just kind of figuring out who I am. But we're expected to kind of know all this stuff about ourselves when we're like 18.
Yeah.
And we talked before. I don't recognize who I even was when I was 18.
No. God, no.
But this idea that you become static, you become an adult, and you just kind of know what you're supposed to do at some point, and then like just follow this trail to be happy. It's like, but I don't know too many people in my life. I could say it's like a role model or a person in my life, and I'm like, that's kind of where I want to be.
Yeah.
Do you like? That was something I heard on a podcast. Like, how many people like, because like adult, like father figures or like mentors in your life, you're like, I want to be just like that person. I can't think of too many people in my life. I would sit here and just do like just like write out their stats and be like, I want to be just like him when I'm like 40. Because I don't know too many people I know who are like in their 40s that I would say if I pulled them aside, and just had a fucking heart-to-heart conversation, they were just like, yeah, I don't know.
I want to be like me when I'm 40.
Exactly. I'm kind of I kind of quit.
Yeah.
I kind of quit doing that thing where I'm like watching how other people do their milestones of their life and think, oh, I got to hit that milestone. By the time I'm 30, I got to have a house and be married and have kids by the time I'm 30 or I'm a loser.
Oh, okay. Oh, what's the not anti-motivational, but the motivational, like the Facebook memes? It's just like getting a house at 40 is still a baller move. Getting married when you're 60 is still a baller move.
You have to drop this idea of doing things on a timeline from like previous generations.
Oh yeah, when we were.
I think that completely fucked our generation.
Oh yeah,
mental health.
When I was 18, I figured, okay, I'll go to college, meet a girl. I'm 25. I'll have a cool job, and I'll be married, and then we'll be able to get a house.
Well, I'll make the probably a salacious point here. Like, I've noticed the thing. 2023 is the year of divorce.
Yeah.
Or like bad relationships, like of all ages, not just my generation, but like they're
All
happening
over.
every time I get online or I go out to the bar.
Dropping
Someone's
like
divorced or
flies.
a long-term relationship is over. Like it's like common. But I think a lot of people hitched up in their early 20s and got married because like, well, this is what you're supposed to do.
This is what I was told.
I'm gonna write because we'll be married and have kids by 30 and we'll do all this stuff because we combined our forces and we're doing whatever. But it's like, did you actually take into account that people don't even like fully develop until they're 25, 27?
And if
Like
you're
you're
neurodivergent,
betting your
30,
horse on a
40.
21-year-old college dude that he's gonna turn out to be your Prince Charming or this chick's like, actually making a good investment.
I hate the fact. I hate that I've become the person just like. Well, you don't know. You'll understand when you're older, and it's like. I get it now. When I was 18, I thought I had it figured out.
Yep.
When I was 22 and in college, I thought I had it
When
figured
I was
out.
27, I thought I had it figured out. Now I'm 32. I think I have it figured out. 5 years from now, I'll look back at me now and think, what a clown.
You dumb.
Fuck, I think you were this close.
You're so close.
Almost got it. I think but we talked about it in that change episode. I think that's good.
Change is good.
If I've fully figured everything out right now, then that's not good. I should 10 years from now look back and be like, oh, 32-year-old me was on the right track, but oh, you were so close.
He was starting to get it.
You're so close. That's so cute that you thought you understood.
But it's like starting to get it at 32. It's so much more reasonable than I have it figured out at 22. I got a college degree now. I'm 25, graduated, got a job. I got it. I got life by the balls.
But I would think there's also, but keeping it back to the happiness point, like in a strange way, I feel happier now than I've ever felt. Mm-hmm. Like, and I think a part of that is like a level of self-actualizing, like kind of figuring out who you actually are and doing things authentically you. Because I think for so much of our lives, we're trying to appeal to other people. We're doing things that we think other people would want us to do, to make our parents proud, to make our girlfriend or boyfriend respect us more, to like do the right thing for our kids, do like things. But it's like, how often were you actually doing things that were aligned with what you deep in your soul wanted to do?
I went to college, transferred majors into something that was very practical when I couldn't get into the thing I thought I might have wanted to do. Mm-hmm. I went to college with an idea that I think I maybe would like to be a teacher.
I didn't even have that. I had no fucking. I didn't. That's why I didn't really go, because I'm just like, I don't.
Yeah, so like I go to college with that. I think I maybe would like to be a teacher, so I got to go to college, and then I find myself transitioning to something like this is practical. There are jobs. There are good paying jobs. This will work. This will be a means to an end. I graduate. I got the degree. Got the job. got a pair of khakis and a polo, and hated it.
As Mark Manson said, no, you became the means to an end, which is considering you're using yourself.
Yeah.
It's not a good term, being
No.
the means to an end.
No,
Because he uses that terminology like in relationships. Like if you're like an abusive partner, you're the means to their end. They're using you as like a supply source to make themselves feel better about themselves.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, the idea of doing things as a means to an end is inherently a negative. Because you shouldn't want that. You don't want the end. You want to enjoy the means of getting there.
you want to enjoy the now. You want to enjoy the process.
If you're literally just using your own time on this earth as a means to get to a location, you're wasting your time.
Yeah.
That's the whole. That's why I say that's why it's like a paradox. Like you're looking. We're so obsessed with getting to that location when it doesn't matter really.
It's Fugazi. It's Fugazi. It's,
Yeah. Like it's. And I said like, this shit sounds so hippie.
yeah.
But I'm at a point where I don't care, and that's so like growing up, and I had so much more anxiety based on like, what do people think about me? What do people think I'm about like my achievements or think about this? And it's like, now it's like I don't care.
A philosophy I've been working with in this new alive time is I'm going to be the meest me that I can be.
Mm.
And I don't want other people to put expectations on me. I don't want to put my expectations based off of other people's perception of me. I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to do what makes me happy. And I know that that is going to carry me to a goal. Even an undefined goal. I know that my journey with goals and milestones set in there is going to be much more enjoyable for me than, okay, I need this job and this house and this car and this wife.
Yeah.
Got to get it by 40. I'm going to be way more happier just being me. And
Seeing what
cruising.
happens. But it's like so anti our culture. That's why I think people have like this like. There's people who would be probably think what we're saying is super hippie,
Yeah.
maybe commie stuff. I don't know. But it's like super liberal. I'm being
Super liberal.
Oh man,
cuck
Rick
boys.
went full libtard. But it has nothing to do with politics. It's just like my idea is just like less expectation on where I'm going. Most of the things that have happened in my life that I would call quality and good were happy accidents that I could never have planned for. There would have been no planning for it. The things I've planned end disastrously and just fucking ruin my life.
I do.
And I have to like build myself up back from these like catastrophic plans I made. And then in those periods are when I find the most joy. And it's almost like I could be cynical and say, am I doing that on purpose? Am I self-sabotaging by getting something going? And then I'm like, you know what? I don't think I actually am. No, I'm just kind of playing devil's advocate with my own little thing I'm saying there. But I know people I think who do that, who like love the grind, they're addicted to the chaos.
Yeah.
Like I inherently love stability. I seek stability, both like emotionally, internally, like financially, in relationships. So like I'm averse to chaos. I don't like the idea of it. I try and, but like, I think you need it as like a test to test your detachment skills, to test your choice making skills in the face of adversity. It makes you more. So each time I've had these disasters happen, I come back more resilient, and I'm better able to set my expectations for things, which inherently makes me happier. So going through bad shit kind of just helps with that.
I like that.
So I guess to wrap this up, there's a nice little quote. Once again, I quote Epictetus the whole way through this goddamn thing. I'm plagiarizing this ancient philosopher like crazy.
Why didn't we just bring him in as a
I should have just brought him as a guest.
Yeah, jeez.
But I always end my blogs. If you don't read them, you should. I think they're fun. They're a little less scatterbrained because I'm, my ADHD gets wrangled in the blog form, and it goes in chronological order. Whereas we kind of just spitball it here. Sometimes
This is the chaos.
This is the chaos. The blog's controlled chaos. So
They're beautiful.
If you're less ADHD brain than we are, you'd love that. But his quote is basically, and it's simple, short and sweet: "Where our heart is set, there our impediment lies." Do you need me to explain it?
Yeah,
Do you know what an impediment is?
kinda. I get it from the context.
Like an obstruction in the road?
Where our heart is set, that's where impediment lies.
It's the goalpost.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So if like that, like in the picture in the podcast, the light, if that's what you're focused on.
We're breaking our own hearts on our expectations.
Yes.
Yeah, I get it.
So if a Roman slave from thousands of years ago could get this, I think you guys can get this too.
I bet I could beat him up, though.
Really?
Yeah, if I found him.
You think a Roman dude who survived slavery you could beat up?
Look, I spend a good amount of time thinking about the Roman Empire. Okay?
All right, man.
I think I could beat up a Roman slave. They're probably malnourished, dehydrated.
And they teach about killing your ego, and you're just still not getting it.
What?
Nah, man, nothing.
It's a healthy dose
Nothing,
of
man.
ego.
Your expectations are completely in check. None of this went over your head. But yeah, I think we wrap it up there. Next week's we'll kind of actually talk about this a little bit more too. So we'll flesh out some more of these ideas.
Oh, next week's episode will be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 10. Yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Don't put any expectation on it. The liking won't bring you happiness. It'll bring us happiness.
It'll bring us short-term happiness. We still appreciate it.
Yeah, we still like it. Yeah, that's a little contradictory. We just told these people not to achieve short-term dopamine hits, but I bet if they click the like button or the follow or subscribe button,
Feel good knowing you're making someone else feel good.
yeah, be generous. Generous lovers. You could be a generous lover too.
Is that all, honey?
Spread it on. Stop calling me honey. Hate that.
Let's get out of here, Sugar Bear.
All right.
Bye.
I like to be educated, but I'm so frustrated. Hello to my loneliness. I guess that ignorance is bliss. Take me back to before I knew. Rewind, take it out of cue. Innocence can be a young man's game. Signed up for the hall of shame. I wish I knew how much I miss not knowing that we're all screwed when we play our roles and ignore the problems. I like to be weighing my patience. Stay up, I feel so outdated. How can we look the other way? Sun is out, but the sky is gray. What would happen if I took a chance? It's always hard at first glance. I don't wanna, but I know I gotta do it. The truth is hard to swallow. I think I'll chew it. I wish I knew how much I miss not knowing that we're all screwed when we play our roles and ignore the problems. I wish I knew how much I miss not knowing that we're all screwed when we play our roles and ignore the problems. I wish I knew